Hi, and welcome to Epic Life. We have been working through a study on this book called The Map, The Way of All Great Men by David Murrow, and we've been looking at the journeys of submission, and we are currently on the journey of strength. If this is your first time joining us, feel free to go back and check out our other sessions on the other trail markers on the journey of strength along with the intro, so you can have a better idea of where we are today as we look at Trail Marker 5. Trail Marker 5, which is our emphasis today, is called Placing God Before Family. So, looking at this today, this one's a challenge because I think in our culture today, like last time we talked about good versus best, and I think that there's definitely a good versus best here. And I think that when we choose to put God before family, we actually become the husband and the father, the son, the brother that God desires us to be, who he made us to be. So what's the lesson for us with this? The fifth lesson of discipleship for Trail Marker 5 is this. Jesus made incredible demands on would-be disciples. He didn't just call people to follow him. He told them to abandon their money, their homes, and even their loved ones. Their money, you can see that in Matthew 19:21, their homes in 8:20, and in 10:37, looking at sort of the loved ones approach, right? With Jesus, it was all or nothing, and it was now or never. Now, when I say abandon, I don't mean necessarily that Jesus is saying, never talk to your mom and dad again, never actually take care of them. Jesus is not contradicting the love your father and mother, right? Like, submit to them, take care of them, and so forth. He's not contradicting the honoring thy parents component here. But he's calling us to have our priorities straight, right? In modern Christianity, we give lip service to this. We teach publicly that God must have first place in our lives. But sometimes that's only words, lip service, right? It's only talking. But in reality, there is one thing that comes before family time, and that is Christ, right? And it's important because what we run into is this. Church-going men have learned that they can use family activities as get-out-of-God-free cards, so to say. Sometimes this idea of, well, our family has this going on, so I can't make it to perhaps that men's breakfast or that men's conference, or maybe that small group for men that's working through a particular issue or a struggle that men face. Sometimes we can use my son's got a baseball game. Now, am I saying that those things don't matter? Absolutely not. God built us for relationships. But here's the thing. If you're not taking care of your spiritual health, your family will suffer as a result of it. All a man has to say is, sorry, I can't come to the men's retreat. My son's got a hockey game, and he's given a pass. Yet Jesus clearly, repeatedly elevated discipleship above family attachments during his journey of strength. Let's look at a few scriptural references to kind of hash this out. So we can first go to Matthew 10:37, where Jesus says, anyone who loves their father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Anyone who loves their son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Whoever does not take up their cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds their life will lose it. Whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. Now, this is important because Jesus is calling us here not to dishonor these relationships, but to prioritize them, to have God first and these relationships second. It kind of goes along with the two greatest commandments. First one is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength. And second is to love your neighbor as yourself. Then we can look at Matthew 12:47 through 50, which lays out for us the following. Someone told him being Jesus, your mother and brothers are standing outside wanting to speak to you. He replied to him, who is my mother and who are my brothers? Pointing to his disciples, he said, here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother. And then finally, if we were to look at Matthew 8:21 through 22, which is interesting. I'm going to actually back up to verse 18. It says, when Jesus saw the crowds around him, he gave orders to cross on this other side of the lake. Then a teacher of the law came to him and said, teacher, I will follow you wherever you go. Jesus replied, foxes have dens, birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. Another disciple said to him, Lord, first let me go bury my father. But Jesus told him, follow me and let the dead bury their own dead. stern words. And as I said, it's not a contradiction. Jesus is not, this isn't some cults will actually make you break all family ties, completely disassociate yourself with your family. God is not calling us to that. He's calling us to make him the first, utmost, foremost priority, the preeminence of him in our lives. And the reason why it's important, men, is because if we're not spiritually healthy, our family's not going to be spiritually healthy, because God's called us to be the spiritual leaders. That's why for us men, particularly, it is the utmost important that we place God in his rightful place, number one, before family. And everything else, I guarantee you, won't be easy, but all the rest of the family relationships will start to come together when God is in his rightful place. This leads us to our prayer. The fifth prayer of a disciple of Jesus should be this one: Lord, help me to not elevate family above you in my life, while not neglecting or abandoning those who you have placed closest to me. One more time. Lord, help me not to elevate family above you in my life, while not neglecting or abandoning those you have placed closest to me. Which leads us to our good practical stuff, right? If we get off the trail and we get lost, this is how we can get back on. Think about this question. What areas of your family are competing with God for the throne of your heart? What areas in your family are competing with God for the throne of your heart today? Thanks for joining us here at Epic Life. Stay tuned next time for our final trail marker as we wrap up the journey of strength. Take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.